Shalom and welcome to all my brothers and sisters across this earth, of all backgrounds, of all colors. I welcome you and thank you so much for coming to this video. If you haven't subscribed, I hope you'll do so. And if you like this video, please hit the like button. Thank you so much. What is Karaim? What is the Karaite? Now, the term Kara in the word Karaim or Karaite, Kara is the ancient Hebrew form of the abbreviation which is today called Tanakh, which is the Hebrew Scriptures. Christians, Messianic, call it the Old Testament. This Hebrew Scriptures, these are our Scriptures, Israelites. All throughout history, real Israelites have always throughout history since the time of Moshe, for 3,000 plus years, have only ever recognized the Hebrew Scriptures alone as our Scripture. Now, the term Karaim came about as a name. It was really a statement. Now, people say that it started in the 8th century, that Karaites just popped up as a new religion and a new movement, a heretical movement. This is not true. All Jews, Israelites, throughout history, were always called Israelites, or Hebrews, or Zadok, which means righteous, or the righteous ones. Now, we came with the term, we labeled ourselves Karaim, or Karaites, which is Karaim, which is the Hebrew Scriptures. It basically means scripturalists. That means we follow only the Scriptures and nothing else. It was a rejection of the Pharisees, Orthodox Judaism of today, which was back then. Of course, Pharaohism goes back at least 2,400 years ago. So this is not a new show. Orthodox Jews are a direct lineage of the Pharisees, those of you who don't know. Now, the Pharisees had the belief that there was two revelations. It's very, very important that you understand this. All Israelites throughout history since the time of Moshe, of blessed memory, how all Israelites have always understood that Moshe had the revelation and was given the written Torah. There was only the written Torah, which is the 5 books of Moshe, what was written in a Hebrew Bible, the first 5 books. Now, what the Pharisees taught, what they came up with, was that no, there was 2 revelations at Mount Sinai. This is very important. If you don't know this, this is very important that you understand. The Pharisees, or Orthodox Jews of today, Rabbinites, Orthodox Jews, believe and always have believed that there was 2 revelations at Mount Sinai. There was the written 5 books of Moshe, and there was the oral, they call it the oral Torah, which means a secret revelation at Mount Sinai that was given to Moshe Rabbeinu of blessed memory. Now, this oral translation is a secretive translation that the rabbis communicated throughout and basically preserved orally, meaning not written down, but orally throughout history. Eventually, it was written down, which is today called the Mishnah, the Talmud. So we as Karaites stood up because they gained forces with Islam, the Muslims, in certain areas as the dominant Judaism, that they were the true Judaism. And we were a force of Israelites who said, no, this is not Judaism. This is Judaism. Rejection of the oral Torah, of the Talmudic interpretations. We stand by the Scriptures alone, and therefore we deemed ourselves Karaim, or Karaites, scripturalists. We stand by the Hebrew Scriptures and nothing else. So that's the foundation of where it came about. It's not an invention of a religion or a heretical Judaism. No, this is legit Judaism, true Judaism, that was a standalone, standing up to, quote unquote, the new kids on the block, which were the Pharisees. We were saying, no, this is Judaism. This is true Judaism. And we are against this form of Judaism. We stand up. So we called ourselves Karaim, Karaites. So therefore, we stand up by that statement, Karaim. The Scripture is our foundation. The Hebrew Scriptures alone has always been the true Israelite Scripture. We never followed the Greek. So So the New Testament has nothing to do with real Israelites, ever. That being said, let's take a look here. All right. So Karaism is the original form of the Israelite faith, the Israelite way, or true Judaism, commanded by Elohim to the Israelites at Mount Sinai. Karaites accept Tanakh alone, or Kara in the ancient Hebrew, the Hebrew Bible alone, what Messianics call the Old Testament. This is the true Israelite scripture and nothing else, as the only words of God and the sole religious authority. Not the Talmud, not the Mishnah, not Kabbalah, nothing. The Hebrew Scriptures. At the same time, Karaites deny human additions to the Torah, which ended up being the Mishnah and the Talmud and other things. We follow what Devarim, the Torah, says itself in Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 2. It says, "You shall not add to the word which I have commanded you, neither shall you diminish from it." Karaite Judaism also rejects a rabbinical principle that the rabbis are the sole authorities for interpreting the Bible. Karaites believe that every Jew, Israelite, has the obligation to study the Torah carefully for themselves and understand based on Scripture, not on your own ideas. You cannot invent theology. You cannot cherry pick passages and start creating things. It's not a free-for-all. No Tom, Dick, or Harry can just pick up, any Tom, Dick, or Harry can pick up a Bible and just say, I'm an Israelite. That's not how it works. It's deep, deep study of Hebrew Scriptures. Our motto throughout history as Israelites has always been, search the Scriptures well and do not rely on anyone's opinion. Rather, the Kara, the Tanakh alone, is the only authority, the words of Elohim, God. Karaites do not reject all interpretations. Therefore, we do not reject that everything in the Talmud, the Mishnah, is false or bad, or that you can't look into other things. Of course, there's a lot of things that we do agree on, but there is much that we disagree on as well. So we have to make sure and weed through a lot of the information to make sure it's based on Scripture. The Karaite motto, the motto of Israelites, does not say to reject the opinion of the learned, of those who are wise. It simply warns us to relying solely on the opinion without verifying its source in Scripture. So that's the point. As I said before, all Israelites were called Zadok, righteous, before the name Karaite, or the statement Karaite, or Karaim, came about. We were just called righteous. Israelites that followed the Torah were righteous. Who followed the entire Hebrew Scriptures, Kara, or Tanakh, Israelites were just called Zadok. These are righteous. And the ones who did not were the unrighteous. It doesn't mean that the Gentiles or non-Jews were considered unrighteous because they didn't follow the Hebrew Scriptures. This was a term only for Israelites. You were either Zadok or you were not Zadok. One or the other. So therefore, this was the term. Until, because of exile and other things, there became sects of Israelites. And with these sects that were not far apart, they all believed pretty much the same thing. I'm just talking about groups of Israelites separated. But within these separated groups, because of exile, came about the Pharisees. Now the Pharisees added to the Hebrew Scriptures and created what today is the Mishnah and the Talmud and all the other writings forth that are added on to the Hebrew Scriptures. So therefore, we came up with the name Karaim. We are Karaites, scripturalists. So this is just a basic introduction to where the term Karaite came from, Karaim, so that you understand why we're called Karaites. It's not really a name. It's not a religious invention. It's a statement. It's a statement. It's not a religion. This is not a religion. It's a reality. Elohim revealed himself to the entire nation of Israel. So when people say man-made religion, it's very easy to debunk these fools, because you just ask the question, what man? What man? Nobody invented Judaism because it was a revelation to an entire nation, to our ancestors at Mount Sinai. So therefore, there's a little quick video for you to understand what Karaim is all about, what it means, and what it stands for. The Hebrew Scriptures alone, Tanakh alone, Kara in ancient Hebrew, the Hebrew Scriptures is our authority, the words of Elohim. And everything must be based on the words of Elohim, not the traditions of men. Shalom.